It's okay. Morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today, joined by Premier Ford, Minister McNaughton, and my brothers and sisters at Local 183. Together, we have built up the province, and with the support of this government, we will continue to do so for years to come. The work that we do at LIUNA is critical to the economic and social success of our communities and the province, and the country as a whole. We build the homes, highways, hospitals, transit, and public infrastructure that all Ontarians and business rely on every day. But we couldn't do it without the training received right here. At Local 183's training center, our members learn the crucial skills to perform their jobs safely and responsibly. And as the province continues to invest in the needed infrastructure projects, ignored for so long by previous governments, we'll need the expanded space and capacity to support our apprentices. We'll need the continued support of the Premier, Minister McNaughton, and the government to meet the growing demand for the skilled labourers. This government has already shown they understand the value of our labour and are taking great strides to expand our ability to deliver the critical infrastructure needed throughout the province. The creation of the Skills Development Fund is an excellent example of this government's commitment to working people. I'm proud to call Premier Ford and Minister McNaughton my friends, and friends of all labourers here at Local 183 and across the province. And now it is my distinct honour to introduce my friend, our friend, Minister McNaughton.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Jack, so much for that kind introduction and for hosting so many people here at LIUNA 183. It's great to be here with Premier Ford, Minister Bethlenfalvy, Minister Tibollo, Mayor Del Duca, and the many people who are building Ontario. As we all know, Ontario is facing a historic labour shortage. Today, nearly 300,000 jobs are going unfilled, costing our economy billions in lost productivity and lost opportunities for workers and job seekers. In construction alone, we'll need 100,000 skilled workers over the next decade due to retirements and job growth. That is why our government is pulling out all the stops to help workers gain in-demand skills. By improving employment services and investing in training, we help anyone who is looking for work find a good job. Our government, under the leadership of Premier Ford, is on a mission to lift people up, and we're just getting started. 2 years ago, during the pandemic, we launched the Skills Development Fund because we believe that Ontario is a place where hard work pays off and big dreams come true. We continue to be overwhelmed with project proposals from industry associations, employers, training providers, and of course, labour unions. So far, I'm proud to say that we've helped nearly 400,000 workers and job seekers take the next step in their careers. But we need to expand our capacity so we can help more workers train for better jobs. We need to upgrade our training centres and build new state-of-the-art facilities. With all hands on deck, we can continue improving Ontario's training facilities so that workers can train for the jobs we need to fill today, or upskill to advance in their careers and build a better tomorrow for themselves and their families. Thank you, and now I'm really honoured to introduce the person who makes all of this happen within government, and that is Ontario's Finance Minister, Minister Bethlenfalvy.
Well, thank you, Minister McNaughton, and it takes a team, and I'm pleased to be here with Premier Ford with a spanking new haircut. You're looking great, Premier. Minister McNaughton, Minister Tibollo, Jack, Mayor Del Duca. It's great to be back in Vaughan. You know, Ontario, like the rest of the world, continues to face uncertain economic times. You know, families and businesses and workers are feeling the financial pressures the current economy is putting on them each and every day. Now, while Ontario's economy has remained resilient, the economic road ahead continues to be uncertain. But our government's plan is the right plan to navigate these challenges, and it is already showing results. Ontario's population is growing. In fact, it's just moved past 5.26 million people in Ontario. Jobs are being created, and we continue to attract manufacturing investments like you haven't seen in decades. And you saw just, what was it, last week, Volkswagen coming into Canada, first time in Canada, huge, huge boost to Ontario's economy. So in just 2 days, I will release Ontario's 2023 budget. Our plan is to build a strong future for Ontario today. It is a plan that will support families, it will support workers, and support businesses today while laying a strong fiscal foundation for future generations, many of whom we just met, some of the young men and women who are going to build Ontario. C'est un plan qui soutiendra les familles, les travailleurs et les entreprises aujourd'hui, tout en mettant en place de solides assises financières au profit des générations futures. It is a plan to attract investments and jobs and build the infrastructure we need to support the growth we are seeing right across the province. It's a plan that trains workers for the jobs of tomorrow. Un plan qui favorise la formation de travailleuses et travailleurs pour les emplois de demain. A plan that gives more workers more opportunities by helping to provide new ways to train and learn. And it is a plan that keeps costs down for those who need it the most and provides better services for you and your family. It's a plan that has a bright future for you and future generations. As Ontario continues to grow, our government is building the province so it has a strong economy and it has the highways, the transit, the hospitals and the schools that communities need. And as we build Ontario, our government is also working for you by training workers, keeping your costs down and making services better and more convenient. I look forward to sharing more details on Thursday, only 2 more sleeps, and our government's responsible, targeted approach that is building an Ontario that the people of this province can be proud of not only today, but in the future. And with that, I will now turn it over to the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford.
Oh, boy. Well, good morning, everyone, and I want to thank you, Peter, for that introduction. But, folks, before I get started, I know this week the LIUNA family is mourning the loss of Brother Norberto Vieira, a business representative at Local 183, who I'm told had a very, very warm heart and was loved by everyone he met. And our thoughts, Jack, please pass on our thoughts, and our prayers go out to his family and all his loved ones. I'm pleased to be back here in Vaughan. What a great city it is, alongside, as you heard many times, Minister McNaughton, Bethlenfalvy, and of course Minister Tibollo, who does a fantastic job representing the people of Vaughan-Woodbridge at Queen's Park. I also want to recognize my friend Mayor Stephen Del Duca. You know, Mayor, I appreciate all the work we're going to do in the future, but the Mayor and I got together shortly after the provincial election, and I am not blowing smoke here, Mayor. I told you, one of the best guys to deal with out of all the mayors I've ever worked with. He just believes in getting it done. He believes in supporting the people of Vaughan, and that's where we share the same philosophies. And it's great to see you again, Mayor, and you got to come over for breakfast pretty soon one more time. Have you ever seen Stephen and I at a box of Tim Horton donuts? They're done, I'll tell you. And anyways, it's a great city and representing Vaughan. There's so many things we're going to be able to work together, Mayor, like training the skilled workforce of tomorrow. And I want to thank our friends from LIUNA Local 183. Thank you, Jack, and pass on my thanks to everyone here for hosting us. LIUNA has been such an amazing union partner, providing hands-on training to workers at state-of-the-art facilities like this, and helping ensure we have the best workforce in the entire world. And friends, I have to say, when I'm out there talking to international companies about coming to Ontario, one of the things they point to, one of our biggest selling points, is our world-class workforce. It's one of the key reasons companies are choosing Ontario. Just last month, I was thrilled to be in Brampton with executives from Magna International, where they announced $471 million investment, creating more than 1,000 new jobs across the province. We were also on hand for AstraZeneca's recent announcement to expand their life sciences facility in Mississauga, creating 500 new jobs. And just last week, as the Minister Bethlenfalvy mentioned, then this was massive, is Volkswagen's, Europe's largest automaker, announced that they have chosen St. Thomas, Ontario to build the company's first overseas battery cell plant. And I just got to tell you a little background on this. Companies like AstraZeneca and Magna and Volkswagen, they go around the world, and it is so competitive out there in the global economy. And we were told about 90 sites. It whittled the choices down to ourselves and Chattanooga. And, folks, I love the Americans, but I love beating them too. And so now the states, some of these states are doing backflips, they're going crazy, saying, how did we lose this? They're setting up committees to figure out how we won the bid. So I'm just so proud of the federal government, the provincial government, the 13 ministries, 3 agencies, and the municipality for pitching in. And I say when we all work together in private sector, there's no one that can stop us. My friends, these investments, these game-changing investments, are a huge vote of confidence in Ontario and in our skilled workforce. But while we attract these investments, we know that there are still hundreds of thousands of jobs across all sectors that are going unfilled each and every day. And over the next decade, we're going to need thousands of new skilled construction workers to help build the infrastructure our growing population needs, including the factories we were just talking about, highways, new homes, public transit, schools, and hospitals. That's why our government is investing over $1.5 billion in our skilled trade strategy, working hand in hand with labor unions like LIUNA, business groups, and our schools, colleges, and universities to train the skilled workforce our growing economy needs. Whether it's upskilling workers, training new ones, or breaking down barriers to get skilled immigrants into the province, we're leaving no stone unturned. It's an all hands on deck. And so today, we're pleased to announce a new capital stream of our Skills Development Fund. Our government is investing $224 million more for employment service and training providers, including labor groups, Indigenous centres, business and industry organizations, and others, to build new training facilities and modernize and expand existing ones, where workers can learn the skills they need to earn good-paying jobs and stable careers in the trades. Under this program, labor groups with existing training centres can apply to retrofit their facilities with additional, let's say, welding rooms and other areas, or an employer or industry association can apply for funding towards construction of a new training centre, where students can participate in renovation and residential construction scenarios. With this new funding, we're increasing the province's training infrastructure. We're providing more women and men opportunities for good-paying, in-demand jobs and rewarding careers. And we're taking steps to create bigger pipeline of talent to ensure we continue to have the best workforce in the world, to keep attracting investments, and to build Ontario. My friends, as we continue to navigate global uncertainty, our government will be hard at work building an economy that can weather any storm, an economy that never loses sight of what's most important: helping people succeed, helping workers succeed. That starts with creating the economic conditions that attract investments and growth and good jobs. We have the right plan to build Ontario. We're making electricity more affordable. We're keeping taxes and fees low. We're cutting red tape. We're investing in transit, roads, and highways to keep people and goods moving. And we're training the skilled workforce that companies need to grow and expand. I want to thank you all for joining us today, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
We'll now go to the floor for questions. If reporters could please line up at the microphone behind me and identify yourselves by name and outlet. Just a reminder, it'll be one question and one follow-up. First question.
Thank you.
Good morning, Premier. It's Jessica from the Trillium.
Hi, Jessica.
I'm wondering if you can tell me if the Integrity Commissioner has asked you for an interview yet. And if he does ask or issues a summons, will you cooperate with it or fight it?
Well, he hasn't asked me, and I've always cooperated with the Integrity Commissioner. We have a great Integrity Commissioner.
To follow up, we reported yesterday that your cabinet approved Madeleine Bodenstein's appointment to the York Police Services Board after you appointed Mario Cortolucci to that board in October. We know you sat with both of them at your daughter's wedding. It does seem like a coincidence. Did you discuss policing with them at the wedding? And
No, not at all. I appoint like-minded people that want to make sure we support the police. We want to make sure any other appointments, people that want to focus on our agenda about building homes, cutting costs. That's what we focus on. But thanks for the question.
Morning, Premier. Liam
Hi.
Casey with the Canadian Press.
Hi.
Actually got a question for Minister Bethlenfalvy.
Okay.
Please. Morning, Minister.
Good morning.
Given the increasing revenues this year and the surprise surplus last year, when will we see a path to balance?
Well, thanks for the question. As I mentioned, you've only got 2 more sleeps to wait, so we'll have a lot more to say on Thursday. But, you know, what's really important, we tabled a plan to build Ontario last year's budget. We took it to the people, roundly endorsed. I updated that plan to build Ontario in the fall economic statement, and we're going to continue updating the people of Ontario on the things that we're talking about today. You know, it's one thing to have a plan, unprecedented plan to build infrastructure right across the province. You know, as I said, we've got people coming to this province, growing families. We got to make sure, we got to think down the road, build that infrastructure. But, you know, you can have a plan to build infrastructure, but if there's no people to build them, you know, where are the construction folks? This is why we're here today, because we have to think not only about making those critical investments today in our people that will help build Ontario, but we have to look down the road a little bit and think, okay, aging population with health care, long-term care, our education system, more schools, more highways so people can move, more public transit, taking cars off the road, a great energy plan and electricity plan for the province to power these manufacturing plants and investments that we get. And, you know, we obviously want to make sure that we have all the skilled labor, but that we also retain it in this great province. So that's what we're going to talk about on Thursday. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. And so you've spoken recently about a restraint in the sort of the upcoming kind of budget. Wondering what does that look like, and does that mean cuts to programs?
No, it does not mean I don't think you can cut your way to prosperity. I think I'm from the private sector, and the Premier's from the private sector, and Monty's from the private sector. You know, you don't cut your way to prosperity. You have to have a plan and a vision, and the Premier and the whole team has laid out a plan to build Ontario. It's a vision. It's how we're going to move this province forward, how we're going to attract those jobs that we lost. You know, we lost manufacturing jobs for decades. You know, we saw auto plants, one after the other, leave Ontario. We believe in this province. We believe in the people in this province. So investing in people and the labor and attracting that capital, as the Premier said, we're not an island here. We're competing against other provinces. We're competing against the largest economy on the planet just south of us. Things are changing out there. These are uncertain times. And so what's so important in uncertain times and very serious times is to have a plan, and that budget that I'll table on Thursday will update the people of Ontario on our vision, on our plan to build Ontario. So thank you for the question.
Hi, Premier.
How you doing?
Rob Ferguson.
Yeah, of course, Rob. Good to see you.
Your haircut. It's a good
Thank you, buddy. I got a story for that haircut.
Okay, you can tell us later.
Yeah.
We've got a story online in the last hour. The federal government, the environment minister's announcing a study this afternoon at 1 into environmental study of the Rouge National Urban Park, because they're concerned that housing development planned in the nearby Greenbelt could hurt wildlife and whatnot. So how concerned are you that this could slow down development? Because I think your legislation requires shovels in the ground by 2025.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Rob. I heard the same thing. Minister Guilbeault is going out there, but it's really adjacent. And isn't it great that we can build a community and people can go over there and walk through these parks? So I have no problem with it. It shouldn't slow down our development plans. It's adjacent. It's not right there. But good luck to them. And we're going to build a beautiful community there. and the park is absolutely critical. So I'm quite pleased on the progress right now to build more homes.
Do you have a legal opinion that this can't slow down? Like, what are you basing that on? And did you get a heads up on this in advance from them?
I actually didn't get a heads up on this in advance, but it's adjacent. So I'm not too concerned about it. We're going to continue moving forward to make sure we're building communities and homes for people with a great support from LIUNA. And I just, meeting all these people here, and a lot of young people, as you can see, going through training, they're going to have jobs for life. They're going to have careers for life. They're going to have a great paycheck, and one of them might be buying the homes that we're building across Ontario. But I know one thing, Rob, we have to start building. People are coming here fast and furious. Jobs are coming here fast and furious, and it's not something you can do overnight. So we're going to continue building and focusing on the plan that we have.
Thanks.
But thank you, Rob.
Hi there, Alan Hale from Queen's Park today. I like the haircut as well.
Thank you.
The cameras can't see me, but my mother keeps telling me I really need to get a shave as well.
Yeah.
So, maybe I'll show her a picture and say,
okay, after Colin, because Colin's going to ask me, I'm telling you the story. I'm not going to let the haircut go. There's a story behind this haircut.
Okay, so you mentioned that the Americans are tearing their own hair out,
Yeah,
trying to figure out what's going on, how they lost that Volkswagen facility. I wonder if the answer to that, though, is that we gave them a lot of subsidies. We heard that from Volkswagen that they told EU regulators that they were going to put a pin in their facility in Europe because they wanted to go to North America because there were going to be lots of subsidies. And the assumption was at the time that they were going to go to the U.S. and get subsidies from the Americans. So have we simply just outbid the Americans in terms of, are we in a race to the bottom in terms of just handing companies money in exchange for these facilities?
That's a fantastic question, and I'll tell you, it's just such a global competitive market right now, and every dollar is going to be transparent. But what we don't want to do at this time, give our competitors the knowledge that they need for all the other companies that want to come here. But first of all, we're going to make it transparent, every dollar that's spent. But we're in a competitive market, and if we don't compete, those jobs, and you think of all the jobs, the reciprocal jobs, 7-to-1 jobs, you're talking tens of thousands of jobs, more revenue to the local municipal government, more revenues going up to the province, more revenues going to the federal government, and that's where you create growth. Once you put a factory in St. Thomas, and I got to give a shout out to Mayor Preston, Joe was absolutely incredible. I love what he said to Volkswagen, and he said to me, he goes, I believe in one word, and the word is yes. Let's get it done, let's make it happen, and again, there's going to be thousands and thousands, matter of fact, tens of thousands of jobs, spin-off jobs, because you need new communities, new roads, new stores, new schools, new everything. So this is really, really exciting, and it's a tax base that is going to be there for decades to come. It's going to be careers that people are going to have to be able to go out there and buy one of these new homes. So it's really, I'm just so excited about it. It's fantastic.
But if you gave this Volkswagen, a huge car maker, not hurting for money generally, if you gave them billions of dollars in subsidies, presumably, if you're not going to tell us.
No, eventually I will, but I just don't want to give our trade secrets to our competitors down south.
Okay, but I mean, we have groups in this province crying out for funding in all sorts of places. Like we had a press conference down at the park this morning about needing more education funding. We have people on ODSP who are barely scraping by, even with the 5% increase you've given them. There's need for that money to be spent on other things other than subsidies. Why would you give?
So great question. Yeah, fantastic question again. Do you know where all that money is coming from? It's coming from the taxpayer, the people that are creating the jobs. It's coming from the businesses that are deciding to open up here, and the spin-off jobs that are coming. I'm a strong believer in not gouging companies, not gouging people, and you get more people employed, more companies opening up, more revenues go up to the Queen's Park coffers. It's simple economics 101. We take that money, we've increased funding to education, we've increased funding to health care by $14 billion since we've been in office since 2018. But that's where you get the money from. by these people that are working and the companies that are working. Because all of a sudden you cut off the well and there's no income coming in, that's when we got a big problem. The number one area where you can get income is through the economy, the market. Let these businesses thrive and prosper. And again, as I stand here today, there's 600,000 more people working today than there was 4.5 years ago. Just think of that income base coming in and going out, and as simple as going out for dinner or buying a refrigerator. That's what stirs the economy, not government taxing people. But those were two excellent questions. Thank you.
Good morning, Premier. Colin DeMello from Global News.
Colin.
So let's hear it. Was it a number one? Was it a number two?
Well, see, he got it. See, every guy out there understands this. So you go into the barber. And I went down south for a few days, so I go into Walmart. I'm a cheap son of a gun, so I see the $15 haircut or whatever. I walk in there, and I said, I just want a trim, just a little trim. And every guy knows what number they are. Number one, the lower you get, the more they take off their hair. So I'm about a number 4. It's just a little bit of a trim. So I sit down in the chair, this guy grabs my hair like this and starts shaking. I'm thinking, the problem was, Colin, he didn't speak English and I didn't speak Spanish. So all of a sudden he pulls out the shaver and zoom, right across the thing. He must have used not even a 1, a 0. And I said, Senor, look what you did. One side's full, one side's not. So then I had to get the other side done, and needless to say, it cost me $26. I've never paid $26 for a haircut in my life, and I had to give the guy a $10 haircut. But anyway, he went right down to the concrete, as you can see there. I'll tell you, I've never experienced anything in my life. It's the shortest haircut I've ever had.
Well, as the kids would say, the haircut slaps.
Oh man, it's gonna take till August to grow this thing back. The grass doesn't grow on a busy street. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
On a more serious note,
yes.
I wanted to ask about Vincent Ke.
Yes.
On March 10th, your office initially defended Vincent Ke related to any foreign election interference, but later you decided to remove him from his position as a parliamentary assistant. I wanted to know, why were you so concerned about Vincent Ke playing any role in your cabinet that you had to actually remove his access from cabinet?
Well, I think Vincent decided that as well. He wants to clear his name, and once he clears his name, then we can get back to normal. I think he did the right thing, and I have confidence that his name will be cleared. But he did the right thing.
So it sounds like he's at home back in the Ontario PC caucus if his name is cleared.
Well, if his name's totally cleared, there's no reason why he can't come back to the caucus, but he has to go through the process, and then we'll find out from there.
And would you support a national public inquiry into election interference? Yeah,
good question, Colin. That's up to the federal government if they want to do that. I can tell you one thing, what people want, doesn't matter provincially, federally, or municipally, they want transparency in the elections. They don't want any interference from any outside source, and that's what we believe in. We'll always fight for transparency when it comes to anything, including elections.
Hi, Premier.
Hi.
Laura Stone, Globe
Hi,
and
Laura.
Mail. In the interest in transparency, can you reveal whether you had got a briefing from CSIS or any other national security agencies about Vincent Ke and what the concerns were?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I personally did not get a briefing. My staff did, chief of staff, and it's always sensitive. So it's kind of tough to answer all the details, but it was quick. I was briefed through my staff, and let's see what happens here.
So why didn't you act at that time when you got the briefing? Was it just you didn't think anything was confirmed, or you didn't have those concerns?
Well, it wasn't in depth.
Detail when that was? Was that back in 2018?
Yeah, no. When with CSIS, everything's a big secret. Like they don't give you a proper briefing, in my opinion. They will say a few comments, and we can't tell you, we can't tell you, we can't tell you. Well, they're in charge of national security, so let them continue on with their investigation. We'll cooperate any way we can, and let them do their job. But they're very secretive.
Hi, Premier. Richard with City News.
Hi, Richard.
The Ontario Chamber of Commerce recently made some recommendations to your government about the Canada sector, a sector that has struggled a little bit 3 years into legalization. One of the recommendations was that you allow consumption lounges, areas where you can legally smoke the drug. Is that something your government is looking at doing, sir?
Well, did you know, good question. And we just, You start doing that, then the cigar lounges, and how about the people that work there and serve and everything? And I said this when the federal government, put this forward with the cannabis. Everyone, there was store after store after store, and I always said the market's going to dictate. You can't have, I don't know, for example, you go to a strip mall, you can't have 3 convenience stores side by side. Eventually, there's going to be one left. That's what's happening to the cannabis stores, in my opinion. The market always dictates, not government. The market will. So I don't like the idea of having a lounge outside and they're smoking their doobies or weed or whatever the hell they call it. Whatever the heck they call it nowadays. And some kids walk by and there's all this smell. No, I don't know. I don't like that personally. If you want to do your stuff, do it somewhere else. That's my opinion.
On another note, Premier, Ontario's temporary sick day program is set to end at the end of March, and that gave 3 days off to workers that didn't get sick days, perhaps some of the workers you're talking about training today. Will you be extending that in any way, shape, or form, Premier?
Yeah, that was specifically designed for the pandemic to help people out. That's the reason we had one of the highest vaccination rates in the entire world, because we put these programs in. And we'll just have to see over the next few days. But I got to give Monte McNaughton, our great Minister of Labour, a shout out. He was phenomenal now, even every day, but especially during the pandemic, trying to always help the frontline workers to make life a little easier, and he's going to continue doing that.
Good morning, Premier.
Hi.
Kyle with CP24.
Hi, Kyle.
Affiliated with CTV as well.
Yes.
This question actually comes from CTV News.
Mm-hmm.
13 nurses are being laid off at a hospital in Alliston at the end of the month. This is a 2-part question.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that? And does that make sense at a time when the province is trying to bolster healthcare?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'll look into it and find out why that's happening. But there's a misnomer, folks. We don't hire nurses. The province doesn't. It's the hospitals that actually hire the nurses. But that seems quite a bit. We're bringing more nurses on board, and I'll make a phone call and find out, where's the justification. We need nurses, and they're getting rid of nurses. But there's always 2 sides of the story. So I'll find that out. But thanks for giving me a heads up on that one.
And this will be the last question.
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Premier.
Good morning.
Mike from CBC News.
Hi, Mike.
And I'm not in a position to criticize anybody's haircut, so I won't. I will say it doesn't look as bad as you think it does.
Okay, thank you.
The first question comes from Mike Crowley from the Queen's Park Bureau.
Yes.
Your announcement today is about training workers for the future, but a lot of Ontario businesses say there's a shortage of workers like right now.
Yeah.
And that's their big concern. What can you do to help immediately like today?
Yeah, these are great questions today, guys. So we have been on the federal government nonstop from the day we took office to bring more people in faster, cut through the red tape, get people their work permits that they can come and start training and lay down their roots. So, they're going to start bringing in 300,000 people a year right here in Ontario. And I always say they're bringing in 500,000 across the country. We're 40% roughly of the population. But folks, guess what? 60% of those people, they're landing here, guaranteed. They're landing in Toronto and Ottawa and the GTA and Kitchener and Waterloo, the whole area, and we just better be ready. We're ready for the jobs, but we need the housing on that. And I'm going to call Minister McNaughton up, because he has worked his back off with the federal government trying to cut through the red tape and bring more people in to fill the jobs. And what Monty does, he connects these people into the training facilities here at LIUNA and other places. So, Monty, if you want to comment on that, that'd be great.
I know we're talking heavily about the construction trades today, but obviously one of the skilled trades that's really important are hairstylists, and that became evidently very clear today. Look, I think there's 2 solutions to the labour shortages. One is retraining and upskilling people that are here in Ontario. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, one of our big priorities is to get the 850,000 people, as many of those off of social assistance, into in-demand jobs. And under the changes that we've made to those on social assistance to get them into jobs like buying work boots, buying transit passes, helping them write resumes, sitting in job interviews with them. To date, in 18 months, we've gotten 23,000 people off social assistance into jobs. So that's really helping on the labour shortage front. Secondly, like the Premier alluded to, thanks to the federal government, and this is why the Premier working with the federal government, myself with Minister Fraser, we landed a new immigration deal for the province where we're going to be able to select 18,500 immigrants based on skill sets that we need to fill labour shortages in the province. We're going to prioritize healthcare workers and skilled trades workers. So all of that is going to fill labour shortages in the short term.
And a second question, if I may change the subject a bit.
Sure.
Premier Ford, we haven't had a chance to ask you yet about the Emergencies Commission report. Justice Rollo said that the people of Ottawa have felt abandoned by your government during the convoy standoff, and he criticized your reluctance to help resolve it. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think that's their opinion. It's furthest from the truth. We were on this every single day. I want to thank Commissioner at OPP and all the police officers around the province that were deployed to Ottawa. And I'm just going to phrase it this way. The Mayor of Ottawa and the police chief, they had their jobs. The Mayor of Toronto, Mayor Tory, and Chief Raymer, they had their jobs. It was night and day. When the convoy came to Toronto, they came, they did their little protests, they were gone because Chief Raymer had operational experience. He was ready. Mayor Tory did a great job, and that's about as far as I'm going to say about the folks in Ottawa. The people that were in charge are no longer there. So we'll kind of leave it at that. But folks, thank you for coming to the great city of Vaughan. I want to thank the mayor. Most importantly, Stephen, I want to thank you for your partnership. And I always say, here in Ontario, when you look around the world and you go on even a little vacation for a few days, you come back to Ontario and you sit back and think, we live in the greatest place in the entire world on all fronts. And when we partner up with the private sector, with the trade unions, with the municipalities, and the province and the federal government, folks, we're unstoppable as a country and as a province. So thank you, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.